The September 2nd episode of Monday Night Raw took lemons and made lemonade. Diet lemonade, but lemonade nonetheless. On this week's Bryan Breakdown, I'll be discussing Alpha Academy vs. American Made Part Infinity, the Unholy Union takes on Damage Control, as well as Sami Zayn challenging Gunther for his World Heavyweight Championship. This week, creative seems to have taken a big step back into the inescapable feud between Alpha Academy and American Made. I appreciate both teams being given ample time to work and showcase their skills, with Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree being particularly impressive, showing that they are more than their comedic roles. Maxine Dupree stood out the most as she seems to have improved dramatically since falling under extreme criticism earlier this year. Usually, I'm not a huge fan of mixed tag matches, but this was a nice back and forth between the two before an outside interference by Chad Gable distracted Maxine, who fell victim to a dragon sleeper from Ivy Nile. That being said, I could have done without the match. I'm not interested in seeing them interact ever again. The storylines drove on far too long and the payoff was never going to be that great to begin with. American Made also has bigger issues to worry about in the form of the Wyatt Six, who they racked up consecutive losses to in the previous weeks. That feud itself is confusing because I'm not sure where it's going, and my interest in Howdy and the Wyatt Six has drastically cooled since their debut. The Unholy Union bested Damage Control in their number one contenders match for Jade and Bianca's women's tag titles, and the match was overly complicated. I'm not sure why Jade and Bianca stood up and got involved instead of simply watching. Then, the shot from Jade to Kairi after Bianca was struck should have been an obvious DQ, but it wasn't. I'll chalk this up to confusion after Kairi Sane's nasty eye injury. Dawn and Fire must also be doing some unholy things to the referees behind the scenes. WWE referees being oblivious has been a well-established wrestling trope, however poorly executed referee spots has become a thing in their matches. That said, this match did a few things well. The Unholy Union and Damage Control are two of the women's tag teams that are legitimate teams on the roster, and it was nice to see Dawn and Fire not to get lost in the shuffle after dropping the belts in Berlin. The way the match ended also opens the door for another interesting matchup, a triple threat tag match with the aforementioned teams. Let's just hope that each team can have a legal wrestler in the ring at the same time. After Gunther prevailed over Randy Orton and came out to celebrate, he was challenged by Sami Zayn. Sami interrupted Gunther's celebration and ran into the history of the IC Championship and the various champions who had used that belt as a springboard into the World Championship picture. After talking up Sami in front of the crowd, he shot down the challenge with a smile on his face.
Is no.
Before leaving Sami in the ring. Zayn then displayed the kind of babyface fire we expect from him, and he played his role to perfection. I have no doubt their next encounter will be great, and I also like the idea of Sami being the perfect foil for Gunther. It's a shame his loss is a foregone conclusion though. My only wish for this program is it would have came a few months down the line to allow Sami Zayn to regain the momentum after coming up short against Braun Breaker. One of my biggest pet peeves in wrestling is when a wrestler loses a big match and then is immediately thrust into a program for a bigger or more important championship. For more great wrestling content, be sure to check us out on Saturday with 2 Smart Marks, as well as subscribe and like for other great content.